Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is my third attempt at recording this. I I seem to have issues every time I sit down to record this particular video. I've made 3 other recording attempts at it so far, to varying degrees of success, but I haven't made it to the end yet. I do believe it's because there's just a sheer amount of stuff that needs to be gotten through in this particular video in the series. Today we're going to be talking about the first couple classes in Cyberpunk Red. I figure since I gave you the buyer's guide, I could do a whole help series on Cyberpunk Red, seeing as how we've played several sessions and I've sat here and read through it and allowed this game to consume my life pretty much. And plus, I figure that if I don't do something at least once a month, I'll probably just keep quitting on YouTube and let another hobby completely absorb me, and then it's a cycle. I quit one hobby to start another, to quit that hobby to start another. Anyway, that being said, let's get started. There are two terms that you need to kind of keep in mind when you go through this video. It's your rank and improvement points. The rank is the level in the class that you're playing. It maxes out at 10. You increase your rank by spending improvement points. Going from rank 1 to rank 2 will cost you 60. So going from 60 to 120, and then 120 up to 180, and so on and so forth. It costs you 60 per rank up. Improvement points are effectively your experience points. They're awarded to the GM, or awarded by the GM at the end of a session if, if criteria is met to achieve or to be awarded improvement points. I'm still hazy on how that works. My character's kind of overpowered because of that. I will end up doing a separate video on how improvement points work. And this is a video series that I'm doing as I'm learning this game, so you and I are going to be learning this together. So, things to keep in mind out of the way, let's get started. The first of the 4 classes is the Rocker Boy. It's the D&D equivalent to a bard, but the music is kind of sidelined. Instead, you're pretty much creating an army of Swifties, but for your character. As you rank up in Rocker Boy, you're able to convince people to do different things for you, different levels of severity, I want to say. For example, at ranks 1 and 2, you can convince a single fan to do small favors for the group, and a group of up to 6 fans will come up to you for autographs. You don't have a large amount of fans yet. You don't have a big following. You got maybe a total of 6 fans, maybe 7. At ranks 3 and 4, one single fan will do a huge favor to the group. Up to 6 fans will regularly hang out with the Rocker Boy, providing booze and other party favors. And you got a small local following. Like, people in the Haywood district might enjoy your music. I'm over here fidgeting with my headphone cord. It's just what I do. At 5 and 6, you can convince one fan to commit a minor crime for you, including shoplifting or jumping in on a fight. 7 and 8. Oh, a group of 6 fans will act as kind of like a posse. They're kind of like If they see you walking down the street, they'll pop up and, hang around you. Hey, you got groupies. Constantly hanging out, doing you favors, and, making sure that your personal needs are met. You need shampoo? Oh, I got you. So on and so forth. At 7 and 8, one fan will straight risk their life for you. 6 fans will commit minor crimes for you, and a huge group of fans will fight other rival fans, and you're getting the beginnings of an information network among your fans. At ranks 9 and 10, you straight up have a cult following. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. One fan will straight up sacrifice themselves for you. A group of 6 will commit major crimes, and you've got a cult. You are known worldwide. You play in all the best venues, so on and so forth. So that was the Rocker Boy. My girlfriend is playing a Rocker Boy, but as a female, so a rocker girl. She doesn't do much in the way of tabletop. She played D&D just because I wanted her to, and she tried Cyberpunk because I wanted her to. She was okay with D&D. She likes Cyberpunk a little bit more. So that's the Rocker Boy. They're pretty fun. They're pretty fun. Music is sidelined, and you generate fame so that you can manipulate the shit out of large crowds of people. Next is the solo. The solo is the class that I recommend for most beginners. It's pretty straightforward. It's a mercenary class. He's similar to a fighter if I were to equate to D&D. It's going to be hard to equate some of these to D&D characters cuz I mean clearly different genres, but I'm going to try my best. Their role ability is combat awareness. I didn't tell you the last role ability. The last role ability is charismatic impact for the Rocker Boy. I apologize. But you probably saw that on on the photo that I put up somewhere in this general area. Anyway, the solo is a straight up mercenary. He's close to a fighter. If I were to pick D&D terms, their role ability is called combat awareness. You're given a pool of 6 points equivalent to your rank in solo. So if you're a rank 6, you get 6 points, so on and so forth. These points can be distributed into 6 different abilities at any given point in time except in the middle of combat. I need to make that distinction. So you can set these ability points in at the beginning of the campaign or at the beginning of session. You can set them at the end of session. You can set them right before you think you're going to go into combat, but you can't set them during combat. You've got damage deflection, fumble recovery, initiative reaction, precision attack, spot weakness, and threat detection. So damage deflection allows you to reduce the amount of damage you take for however many points you put into this skill. 2 points reduces damage by 1, 4 points reduces damage by 2, and so on in the first round of combat. And that takes place in the first round of combat. Only the first round of combat. Next is fumble recovery. It is a single cost skill. It costs you 4 points, and it allows you to ignore critical fails in combat in particular. All of these, I think, actually are going to be combat related skills. The roll is still treated as a 1, but you don't really endure consequence for rolling a 1. You just fail the roll. And that's about as simple as it's a straightforward part of this particular role ability. Next is initiative reaction, and this is simple as well. It adds +1 to your initiative roll for each and every point spent. So if you spend all 6 points, you get a +6 on your initiative. And then next is precision attack. Gives you a +1 to attack rolls for every 3 points spent in the skill, capping out at 9 points. So the order of combat is you roll initiative, that initiative is organized, then you roll to hit, which is d10 plus initiative, or yeah, d10 plus reflex plus the relevant weapon skill. So let's say you're firing an assault rifle, it's d10 plus reflex plus shoulder arms. And then you add your precision attack points to that roll as well. So let's say you dump 9 points in, you add 3, you add 3 to your attack skill, or your attack roll, sorry. That attack roll. So it'd be 1d10 plus the reflex plus relevant skill level plus 3. I don't know if I'm going to edit numbers into that, but we'll figure that out post video. Next up is spot weakness. It gives you +1 to damage for every point spent, taking place before calculating armor deflection. So if you rolled damage and spent 3 points, you would deal a total of 15 damage before seeing how much the armor absorbed. So you roll a 15, their armor's 11, 15 minus 11 is 4. So they take 4 points of damage, and then their armor takes 1 point of damage. So it would go from 11 to 10. And it is one singular point of, they call it ablated damage. Every time a damage roll surpasses the armor, the amount of armor you have. And when you're, as a side note, when you're equipping armor, you're equipping for the head and the body, those are two separate pieces of armor. You don't combine I'm going to call it SP. You don't combine the SP. My books are way back there, and I'm not fishing them up right now. I have a PDF floating around somewhere, but I'm going to call it SP. You don't combine the SP of the armor. So let's say you equip a head armor piece that has 11 and a body armor piece that has 11, you don't get 22 armor, sorry. You get 11 armor for the head and 11 armor for the body. That was a long ass side note. Moving on. And finally, for this particular class, you've got threat detection. It adds +1 to perception rolls for every point spent. I think that's one of the only skills, one of the only sub skills in this particular roll ability that you can use outside of combat, or that really matters outside of combat. And that's pretty straightforward as well. So if I tell you to roll a perception, you just roll a d10, add your perception skill level. Sorry, d10 plus relevant skill, which I think is intelligence. I might be wrong. I was correct. It was d10 plus intelligence plus level. So if your intelligence is a 5, it is a d10 plus 5 plus the level in perception, which is, in this character's case, it's 2. So let's say I roll a 5. 5 plus 5, which would be 10, plus the relevant skill level, which would be 2, that would be 12. Let's say I dumped 4 points in, that's +4, making it a 16. I wisened up and grabbed a character sheet just in case I needed it. But that pretty much wraps up the solo class. I'm going to go ahead and we're only going to be brief. We're only going to be brief on the Netrunner class. That's the next class that we're going to talk about. And that's because when it comes to net running, that particular class and subset of rules, it deserves its own separate video from this, so I'm going to be relatively brief about it. And you'll get a separate video on that because net running is something that I'm still learning myself. Because there's quite a bit to it, and then in when you incorporate the Edge Runner's mission kit, that adds a little bit more when, yeah, when you tack on quick hacking, which was, if you've played 2077, god tier. 2077 is still one that I have yet to deal with myself. I really want to play that game just for the extra, just for the fun of it. Like, I wish I had the tech to do so right now. I have to upgrade my computer. But that's a different tangent. So, your netrunner is your hacker. Plain and simple. If I were to equate the netrunner's skill set to anything in D&D, it would be the wizard, because most of it ends up being like intelligence rolls or tech rolls. Plus, I mean, similar kind of gear set. The wizard carries a spell book for spell casting. The netrunner has a cyber deck loaded with programs to combat, you know, black ice programs and daemons. So you have to carry a separate item in order to, cast your spells or use your programs. The combat ability is called Interface. Gives you the ability to jack into and out of access points as long as you have a cyber deck, or a cyber deck and virtuality goggles. I apologize. So it's really the only class whose roll ability depends on what you have equipped, at least so far. You also have a whole slew of interface abilities that allows you to break passwords, sneak by black ice programs, control things like automated turrets and cameras, and of course, steal files and data and what have you. You have skills that allow you to slip in and out unseen, and skills that allow you to leave viruses. So you also have programs that you can download to give you an edge over top of what you might be facing in a net architecture. Net architectures are where, net running combat takes place. I put that in air quotations because yes, it is technically combat, but then again, it's not at the same time. While interfacing, you get an amount of net actions per turn, and that's determined by your rank in interface. Ranks 1 to 3 give you 2 actions, 4 to 6 give you 3 actions, and 7 to 9 give you 4 actions. Rank 10 gives you 5 actions, and that's where you max out. That's it. On top of taking those net actions, you also have one real world turn that you can take to shoot your gun and so on and so forth. Or let your teammates know, hey, I'm this far in the net architecture, or what have you. Or move if you have to. The final class that we are going to cover today is where I'm jumping into territory that I am not exactly experienced in, because I don't really have a player playing one. This is the tech class. The tech is an artificer. If you were to grab up a high fantasy setting and throw a cyberpunk character in it, it's an artificer class. Minus, of course, the magic. Their roll ability is called Maker. Whenever the tech increases their roll ability, they also gain a rank in 2 specialties. In the player's choice of 2 specialties, let me specify. Field expertise, upgrade expertise, fabrication expertise, or invention expertise. And they are very, very self-explanatory. Field expertise allows you to add your rank to any skill check that you make in basic tech, cyber tech, electronics and security tech, weapons tech, and land, sea, and air tech skills. You also get the ability to, jury rig broken tech to near perfect condition with the same dice value as a full repair. The duct tape patch job will hold for roughly 10 minutes per skill rank. So if you're a rank 6, it'll hold for about an hour. Upgrade expertise is next, and it has a pretty hefty submenu, so I will try to explain it. I will try to keep it concise, and it does exactly what you think it does. You pick an upgrade from the submenu as long as the upgrade is applicable to the item and apply it. I'm going to go ahead and put a picture up right about here so that you can see the submenu. If you want to pause and read through it, it is pretty damn lengthy. And I'm pretty sure I got lazy while writing out the notes for this video, so we're just going to roll with the punches. You done reading? Cool, because we're going to move on to fabrication expertise. Fabrication expertise. It allows you to create already existing items from materials you may have on hand or lying around. You are also able to fabricate items created by the invention expertise subclass as well. So pairing in the next one we're going to talk about with fabrication is pretty it can be pretty OP, at least for, making shit. And invention expertise, which will be the last skill set of the tech and the last part of this video. Once again, it's pretty self-explanatory, but there are levels to how expensive the item invented and fabricated can be, which is determined by a roll of the dice. So something that is, cheap is going to be like a dice value of an 8, whereas something that is considered a luxury item of 10,000 euro dollars or more is going to be like a 20 on the dice value. And also will take a certain amount of time, determined, again, I'm pretty sure by dice value or DM intervention, GM intervention, sorry, game master intervention. I can't believe I stumbled my way through this whole video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and leave a like. If it was helpful, go ahead and leave a like. If you got anything at all out of me stumbling and tripping through this video trying to explain these classes, thank you. I'm glad I can help. And please go ahead and leave a comment on whatever class it is that you might have picked. And tell me if, you come back to this video for brief explanations or what have you, or to just tell me if this video helps. I'm tired and I don't know if I can properly close this video out. Like I said at the beginning, I realize that if I don't do anything with this, I'm not going to at all. You guys have a good day. I'm going to bed.